Hi, this is Mitch Mitchell of ttmitchellconsulting.com and of Mitch's blog, which is the blog of ttmitchellconsulting.com. I decided to turn this into a video rather than write it out, although I will still have something written, because I had an interesting online conversation regarding this particular topic, and I thought that I could clarify myself better by speaking rather than writing. Basically, one of the people I'm connected with on Facebook put up a video by a guy named Pat Condell. And in this particular video, this man was basically ranting about the reaction by people in many Muslim countries to some video that some guy made and that ended up on YouTube that basically was talking about Islam in a negative way. I say it that way because I'd never seen the video. As a matter of fact, most Americans hadn't seen the video, and most of us knew nothing about it. Didn't know it existed, didn't know any of the actors, didn't know the guy who made it. But somehow, some group over in the Arab world found the video, decided to use it to promote this anti-American message as if all 300 million of us made the movie. And the next thing you know, there were all these protests in all these countries and all this burning of flags and all these other kind of things going on. And it ended up with 4 people being killed from our embassy in Libya. And it was a whole lot of stuff going back and forth, and Republicans were saying Obama was soft on this and that when he wasn't. And, of course, then they backed off later on because they realized he didn't say it. Someone else said it and tried to attribute it to him, and it wasn't that. And, it's the kind of thing where these kinds of things stir everybody up. And I'll tell you the truth, I wasn't angry with it. I thought it was all a bit ridiculous. Now, having said that, there's different things that kind of come out of issues like this when we get to talking about things. In this man's video, I mentioned his name, but I'm not going to put a link to the video. I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it. He basically said a lot of things that a lot of other people say or thinking or put it away. The thing is, he went too far with it. Yes, do we think that having these people burning flags and screaming death to America, all this other kind of stuff is ridiculous? Yes. But the truth of the matter is, there's over 1 billion Muslims or people of Islam, however you want to say. My God, there's a bunch of people. And it's not all the people. Matter of fact, it's probably not even people who really care one way or other, but somehow get out there and protest and do all these things. And they think it hurts us, and it doesn't. You know what? We live in America. We don't care. Burn flags. We really, we don't care. But to basically say that Islam is this and Islam is that, I don't know if there's a point to that. And that was, pretty much my argument. There are these things that irritate us all, and we get mad about it all. And yes, these suicide killings and all this other kind of stuff, it looks bad, but the truth is that basically it's a radical fringe. And when we look even here in America, there are people who believe things that are radical. They just are. And we don't suddenly go condemning the entire group of people for things that people who are on the radical fringe do. We basically say, okay, those people are radical fringe. Someone will take care of them when they break the law, and, we move on. And that's kind of the point about, tolerance and diversity. In that, to me, if you're not saying anything that's really going to help promote a real conversation, rather than promote a lot of people getting on there saying, yeah, I agree with you, and those blankety blank should do this, and those blankety blank should do that, or just to start calling them names and saying we should teach them this and we should do this, whatever, that doesn't get anything done. I go off of 2 things. One, I go off to the thing that we really do need to have these conversations about race or religion or women or whatever. Anytime we have these different groups that don't agree with something or one group is being oppressed, the only way you can solve any of these things is to have a conversation. If you have to have a smackdown, and I hate putting it that way, but let's tell the truth, every once in a while, there's going to be a conflict of something. Back in, I think it was 93 or 94, when the United States had to go into Bosnia-Herzegovina, however you pronounce that, and basically shut down the leader who was basically killing Muslims. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was slaughtering all the Muslims. And the United States went in there and ended that. Sometimes that happens. There are just those radical fringes that could care less about diplomacy or anything else. They just care about being right. So you do sometimes, have to address that. That's just how that is. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which is very interesting, is that in America, people like to say they value freedom of speech. That is until people don't agree with them, and then they get all haughty and they don't like it. Truth of the matter is, there is no such thing as freedom of speech. I've written that on this blog, I've written on another blog. I state that all the time. There really isn't freedom of speech, or there is, depending on how you want to look at it. You can say anything you want to. You can put it in any words you want to. You can say, I'm against politically incorrect speech, or you can say, I'm for it. You can say anything you want to. But when people come down on you because they don't like what you just said or what you just shown or what you just put up, and your reaction is, well, I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say, you know what? So are they. You know, this is what social media is all about. This is what the world is all about. People don't just get to stop hate anymore and get away with it. And I know some people say, well, that wasn't hateful. You know what? It's about that perception. I wrote a post on here about changing perceptions. You know, whatever a person's perception is about something that you said, it's right. It could also be wrong. But the thing is, it's their perception. And if you feel comfortable enough to say it or to do it, then deal with it. That's, you know, that's really the case here. But in the case of things being diverse or intolerant or tolerant or however you want to say it, I just think that we have to get to a point, folks, America, rest of the world, where we can talk about some of these things and we need to modify some of our positions. There are no real absolutes in this world. I mean, there just aren't. I think we will all agree that abuse of children, that's an absolute. We don't want that. I think that after you leave that one, obviously there are no absolutes. There's American absolutes that don't work in other countries, and there's absolutes in other countries that we don't like here. And you don't change it by name calling or castigating an entire population. You just don't do it. You don't blame every single member of every country for what their leaders do or what some of their idiots do. It just doesn't work out that way. So anyhow, this is my position on this. I'd love to know what yours is. And trust me, if yours is antithetical to mine, I will back it up because I think that I have expressed a view here that doesn't threaten anyone. I didn't call anyone any names. I have not picked on any particular religion or person or belief or anything else like that, although someone's going to say, well, you said Obama said this. They did, you know, but I'm not, you know, condemning anything. You know what? This is the season of politics. And, you know, we know that both sides are going to either, I hate to say lie, but you know, they're going to prevaricate a little bit and mix it with a little bit of truth, and they're going to take advantage of whatever they can take advantage of. But that's what some of these other people do. They take advantage of a situation, they spin it a little bit. They're a little bit right and they're a lot wrong. And sometimes you have to take that a little bit right for what it is, and you have to acknowledge that a lot wrong for what it is. And that's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. So anyway, I hope you take this message for what it's worth. Like I said, leave a comment if you want to, or don't leave a comment if you want to. And there you go. Have a good day.